So we've talked about edge in the future. We've talked about really the criticality of centrality of data and data access and topology and fusion and best practices to enable it. So that brings us to a topic that you and I have lived both a lot over the past, well, 2 decades or longer. We don't want to date ourselves here, but really connectivity. So our next topic coming back from the future is connectivity, and we touched on it a little bit because you can't not touch on it when you're talking about edge, really. I mean, I think we were talking about that backstage, that edge and 5G really go hand in hand. I had a chance, an opportunity at Google Cloud to be part of the team working on the establishment of the telecom ecosystem, the edge strategy, and I had been on a journey before that at WWT and Ericsson of really having a front row seat to front row of watching cloud and the network come together. So just starting to see it, and I think I think you attended this year's MWC.
Yep.
I couldn't, this is like the first one I've missed. I couldn't make it. And one of the things I heard, though, was that this year's MWC was one of the themes was just that cloud and the network coming together. So maybe I'm curious to get your perspectives on that, where you see that going. I mean, there's so much to talk in connectivity.
Yeah.
That's just our opening topic.
Yeah, I think from my experience, like yours, networking is always exciting for me. And I still think it's one of the most exciting parts of the infrastructure now. There's so much happening in connectivity.
It is.
I'm just going to hit a few highlights just to give you a sense. So at the basic optics, enormous amount of innovation is happening with silicon photonics and high-speed connectivity, 400 gig, and new switches and new silicon, and also so that's bringing about a whole new data center connectivity options.
Absolutely.
That never even existed before. You're able to drive very low latency, a lot more capacity between servers, even more than we've ever seen before. Yep. This is all happening as we speak. This whole jump from 100 gig to 400 gig is going to happen the next few years. It's starting to be discussed in earnest, and I think that's a big next step. Yep. Then on top of that, networking has become very software driven. We are very engaged in Sonic, one of the biggest projects with many industry players. We started that from the beginning with Microsoft and many others, and it's at a point where it's really taking hold. It's a big deal because now you don't have networking bottleneck. Developers can create all kinds of products, solutions, and I would tell you it's a huge enabler for the edge. Many of our customers are taking the Sonic software and all these optics to the edge and able to put applications on the network switches, which is opening up all kinds of retail.
Because you've heard about it before with NFEI and other trends, but now it really feels like it's becoming programmable.
It's happening.
It's happening.
Yes, and it's happening by the average developer. You don't have to be an expert. Most companies have enough developers to do it. So that by itself is transformational enough. But just beyond that, you have the fact that connectivity has now become cloud-like with APIs and being able to connect to multi-cloud with automation anywhere, as well as be able to program connectivity to any big provider with software. Just about everybody is now software enabled and programmed their networks. So that also unleashes the ability, what we talked about before, data mobility from edge to cloud to data center is not possible if you don't have all this software programmability and high capacity. And again, this is just a continuation of what we've seen with cloud edge deployment, but now it's gone from just for the cloud only, where you can program with APIs, to anywhere.
Exactly.
Inside your network, to any network provider, to anywhere. And we all know SD-WAN is just one more form of that.
Yep.
So now the same developer that sets up compute, supporting how you want to support your data storage and mobility, is able with software and cloud type architecture now design how you connect. What does that mean? Enormous velocity of movement of data. It's going to start to happen. We'll see it. Now you add to it the 5G wave that is just starting.
Slicing. I mean, you add that capability where you can slice, you can program, you can, I mean, that's the...
Yeah, two big things that was clear at MWC from all the discussions we had, plus what some of the products we showed, is that now you can put 5G on standard compute.
Yep.
This is a big deal. It's not, this is as big of a step function for networking as anything we've ever had the last 20 years. So when you're able to take application on standard compute, that means all standard data centers, collocations become destinations for this. And also the new 5G networks are an ecosystem. It's a multi-cloud ecosystem. So everybody talks about ecosystems in data centers. We've always talked about enterprise as an ecosystem of multi-cloud where you want to connect all the clouds. 5G looks like that.
Yeah.
So how about that? So all the entire global infrastructure of collocation and networking is now a deployment option for 5G.
Right.
And the new very smart antennas that are disaggregated that can be deployed, and you can put new compute at the edge of the bottom of the cell tower. We've deployed that with many big customers, and you've seen that probably in a lot of articles. Yep. So that extends the compute to thousands and thousands of data centers beyond what we have today. Again, same story. It's about data.
Yep.
It's about connectivity. You have to pull a lot of the intelligence out of all these cell towers back to data center. So things are...
I mean, we were
lots
talking,
of stuff. We should have talked less than a year ago.
Right, well, we should have talked less than a year ago, and it was hard in 40 minutes to
distill
cover.
all of
We could
that.
have spent 40 minutes on connectivity alone. There's so much,
Yep.
I agree.
It's always the most exciting. I agree.
There's just so much going on in that space.